Hello and welcome to the last Crime Watch before the summer break. In the 6 years we've been on the air now, we've received more than 70,000 calls from viewers, which have led to 251 arrests for serious crimes. Tonight, once again, we're asking for your help with investigations all around the country. The detectives involved in those cases are manning the phones. Here's the number, remember the new code, 081 811 8055. And for viewers who are hard of hearing, this is the number to dial on the Minicom Supertel system.
Tonight, London's midnight children, how small boys playing out at night have been victims of a murderer. Community policing, how a member of the public almost stopped armed robbers in their tracks as a gang fled empty-handed from a bank raid. We've another well-stocked Aladdin's Cave, property that might belong to somebody you know. And a kidnap, burglary and burnt-out cars in the quiet of the night in Norfolk. Did you see anything suspicious on the night of last month's Crime Watch?
Our first appeal is the murder of a child, and it's a case in which at least one other child has been sexually assaulted by the same man. We appealed on the case on Incident Desk back in March, but detectives are no further forward, and they need all the help they can get to prevent another child falling victim to the same attacker. During the film you're about to see, please bear in mind that because of the rules which exist to protect performers under the age of 16, the actors taking the roles of the two children are and look older than the roles they're playing. Our reconstruction begins in Brixton in South London. Wayne Taylor lived with his mother a couple of miles from here in Kennington. But his father lived in Brixton, and Wayne often came here to see him and spend time with friends.
Come anyway, come.
Wayne looked much older than his 11 years and liked to seem cool and streetwise. He would sometimes stay out quite late at night.
I'll go just make a call. Yeah, I'll go ring this girl.
He usually rang home to let the family know where he was.
Yeah, it's me. No, I'm staying at Dad's tonight. He said it's all right.
Start, hurry up!
Yeah. Because he's waiting, I'll call you later on. All right.
Hey, what you doing, man?
She can't make it.
Start, you're funny, your mum, innit?
Don't be silly.
No, don't lie, son, you're
No,
phoning her.
if I ring my mum, I'll
She's
tell
young, you know what I mean? I have to give my blood. Don't worry, what she say, you're allowed to stay up?
No, don't be silly. I'm just going to ring my mum.
By contrast, Wayne spent his weekdays in Buckinghamshire at a special weekly boarding school for children with difficulties. There he'd really begun to thrive.
Wayne was very friendly and trusting. He had a very acute sense of humour. He liked to be in the centre of all the activities and really enjoyed the social side of school life. He was the largest boy in school. He protected the younger children and he was the most popular child. Wayne was doing extremely well. Before he arrived here, he'd had a problem where his classroom attitudes and attainments had deteriorated, but he made very good use of the placement here, and we were proud to have him. He was a leading light at this school.
The day Wayne died was the first day of the half-term holiday, Monday the 19th of February. He was back in London, and at lunchtime he met up with his best friend in Kennington.
I might sleep at my desk tonight, yeah? Tomorrow. Yeah.
He set off to look for his father in Brixton, but his father wasn't in. At around 4 o'clock that afternoon, someone who looked like Wayne was seen near Southwick House, a council estate in Brixton. Someone else says they saw him on the first-floor landing of the estate at around that time. Could he have been meeting someone there? It is known for certain that around 4 o'clock he was in nearby Atlantic Road. He called into a grocer's shop where he knew his father often went.
You see my dad?
No, I haven't seen him for the evening.
Are you sure you ain't seen him?
No, he ain't been in here yet for the evening.
All right. Can you tell him I'm around? I'm looking for it.
Okay, all right.
Wayne went back to that shop twice more between 6 and 7 o'clock that evening, but his father still wasn't there. It was around 7 o'clock that Wayne was last seen, still in Atlantic Road. Later that night, Wayne's mother reported him missing to the police. Two days later, back at Southwick House, two police officers on a routine patrol of the estate looked into a disused community centre.
Dinner. What's up? Come on, mate. Wake up. You can't stay there.
He's dead, mate. Better get on to the Delta 1.
Wayne had been sexually assaulted and suffocated.
Delta 1 receiving 308.
In the 4 months since then, the Murder Squad incident room in South London has been following up all possible clues, including those provided by Crimewatch viewers. They've talked to more than 1,000 people and taken 250 statements, but the results had been frustrating. With one exception. They turned up a vital new lead when they looked into an attack on a 9-year-old boy in Brixton 8 months before. 20th of June 1989. An after-school game of football near Southwick House, where Wayne Taylor was later found murdered. One 9-year-old boy played on well into the evening. It wasn't until just before midnight that he started walking home along Brixton Hill.
It was so quick, I tried to scream, but his arm got tighter around my neck. He was pushing me, forcing me, to the back of the alley. He was very strong. He pushed me between the cars. I started screaming, then he grabbed me by the neck again. I fell down. He said his name was Derek.
Hello? Who's down there? Oh, what's going on down there?
Daddy!
Oh my God! Are you all right? What's happened? What's happened?
Daddy!
Oh, hang on, I'll come down. Where did he go?
I'll go take a look down, all right?
You're all right now. Oh my God! Are you hurt? Did you see him? Are you all right? Where does it hurt?
There's nobody down there.
Did you see him?
No.
All right. Listen, can you stand? Gently does it. We'll take him upstairs and I'll call an ambulance. Come on, gently does it. That's it. We've got you. Oh,
I've got you,
okay,
mate. I've got
okay.
you.
Right, I'll open the door.
That 9-year-old boy had been seriously sexually assaulted. The results of genetic tests on samples of semen from that attack have now provided vital new evidence in the investigation into the murder of Wayne Taylor.
We took the samples from the clothing of the boy from Brixton Hill and compared them to the samples found on the body of Wayne Taylor. This line here shows the samples taken from the body of Wayne Taylor, and this one here, the boy attacked on Brixton Hill. If we lay the samples side by side, we can see that the two bands are in exactly the same position. This test and some more detailed tests we did showed us that one man was definitely responsible for both attacks, and the chances of that not being the situation is 1 in 100 million.
For quite some time after the death of Wayne Taylor, the children here were horrified and devastated by his loss. Particularly those from the South London area felt that they were in danger of being snatched off the street and assaulted and attacked, and they needed a lot of reassurance.
This is Wayne's dormitory, and this is Wayne's bed over here. It's not been slept in since he's been gone. This is Wayne's teddy. He used to give it to boys who were that sad and upset and wanted a bit of comfort, and they used to just cuddle that.
Well, remember, Wayne was actually much younger than our actor. We're talking here about two children aged 9 and 11. Bill Lavers is in charge of this investigation. Wayne was a popular lad, he had a lot of friends, he was very trusting. Would he be the sort of boy to go off with somebody he didn't know?
No, he wasn't that sort of boy, but he was looking for his dad, and if somebody approached him and said they knew where his dad was, it's possible he might have gone off with them.
So what happened after 7 o'clock that night is crucial?
Yeah, that's crucial. We know the boy was last seen at 7, a good witness saw him at 7. By 11 he's dead. It's important that we see anybody who saw Wayne after 7 o'clock.
You found a receipt for a trapper hat beside Wayne's body?
Yes, this is the receipt from the Combined Services Supply and in Atlantic Road. It relates to one of these hats, a trapper hat. We know Wayne Taylor had a trapper hat that was stolen by 2 boys sometime previously, and it's possible that someone purchased him a hat to befriend him.
So that could be a vital clue.
Yes, it could.
What appeals are there now as a result of the link you've made with the attack on the little boy a year ago?
Well, the boy a year ago was playing football in the vicinity of Southwick House, so anybody who can remembers in June of last year, a 9-year-old boy walking up Brixton Hill, possibly being followed by a man. And also I want to trace the 2 people who went to his assistance after the attack.
And most important of all, we have a description of him now.
Yes, we have. He's a black man, he's about 5'4", in his early 20s. He did say his name was Derek during the attack. He was wearing a T-shirt with a woodpecker on it.
You're obviously very worried about this case.
Yes, I am. These attacks both took place within the space of 8 months. This man's got to be caught. I have the evidence, I need his identity.
Right. There is, remember, a concern for the safety of other children here. Please do ring. There are BBC researchers manning the phones if you prefer not to speak to a police officer. And the number to ring here is 081 811 8055. The direct line to the Lambeth incident room is this, 071 230 5815. That's 071 230 5815.
Well, now news of a child murder inquiry from a previous programme. On April's incident desk, we appealed for information on the murder of 10-year-old Christine Lee from the Castlemilk area of Glasgow. Following extensive police inquiries, a 19-year-old man appeared at Glasgow Sheriff Court on May the 29th, charged with murder. He was remanded in custody.
Also in April, we appealed for your help on the disappearance of 16-year-old Michael Bolton. He was last seen in May 1989, out jogging a few miles from his home in the Derbyshire Peak district. Police feared he'd been murdered. Well, 10 days ago, a potholer came across Michael's body 200 feet inside a cave near Stony Middleton, which was very close to where Michael was last seen. The inquest is yet to be held, but it now seems likely that Michael's death was accidental.
Last month's reconstructions had a huge response, though with little to report as yet. There may be a breakthrough soon on the murder of David Birkett, though that comes from evidence unrelated to our reconstruction. And on the attack at Palmer's Green, detectives are now concentrating on 2 calls in particular.
We can report 2 arrests as a result of photocall last month. One of the faces we showed was a man wanted in connection with a series of frauds and deceptions. A viewer recognised him as someone he'd been employing at his business in Bridport in Dorset. As a result of that call, a man is now in custody awaiting trial on a number of charges, including the theft of a substantial sum of money. The second arrest was of a man who saw his own photo on television as he sat watching Crimewatch with his girlfriend. The girlfriend called the police and gave an address, but they missed him there by a matter of minutes. The man fled first to Wales and then on to Aberdeen, where he called on an aunt. She'd also seen the programme and she refused to let him in, but she did take a note of his car registration number. He was on his way to visit another aunt in Aberdeen when police surrounded his car and arrested him. He's now in custody, charged with absconding from prison, theft and criminal deception.
Tonight, Northumbria Police want your help to trace 2 men in connection with the murder of a man in Ryhope, Sunderland. Terence David Williamson is 20, he's 5'8" tall. He's also incidentally known as Terence Wood or Wilmo. Kazir Samir Rashdi has the nicknames of Kassa and Kaz. He's 21 and he's 5'10" tall. Both men are from London's East End, but they could be anywhere in the country. Police in Sunderland have taken the unusual step of warning viewers not to approach these men because they could be armed. Just call us here if you know where they are on 081 811 8055 or call Northumbria Police on 091 567 6155. That's 091 567 6155.
Well, now to this month's photocall, and here with the faces you might know are Detective Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
First, an unusual case for Crimewatch. Ira Einhorn was Philadelphia's most famous hippie in the 60s. Even into the late 70s, he kept his bohemian appearance. He was known as the Unicorn and was seen as a guru of that free-thinking, peace-loving ideology. A respected figure, he was called on for his opinion in many fields, here by TV Ontario.
It's dawn in an American home, and the alarm clock goes off. People jump out of bed, rigidly, like soldiers being called to revelry. Somebody marches into the kitchen and begins to make breakfast.
Holly Maddox was Einhorn's long-standing girlfriend. In March 1979, police found her decomposed body in his apartment. Following that discovery, Ira Einhorn left the States, and Philadelphia police now think he may be in this country. We know that in 1985 he was living in Dublin under the name of Ben Moore, and since then has been seen in Stockholm and London. Police in the States have made up this composite of how he may look now. He's 50 this year. If you think you've seen him anywhere at all, please ring us now.
In our next case, officers in Brentwood, Essex would like to speak to Stephen Davis. He may have helpful information about an attack they're investigating on a woman in Whalley on the 3rd of April. It happened at about 1:30 p.m. in Dark Lane, Whalley, near the headquarters of the Ford Motor Company. A 29-year-old woman was jogging along the country lane when she was forced to the ground and subjected to a vicious sexual assault. Stephen Davis is 29, 6 foot tall, stocky and has 2 tattoos, the name Bev on his left wrist and a heart on his right arm. We believe he may be travelling with a girlfriend, perhaps sleeping rough in the Essex area. Call us if you know where he is.
And you know where this man, Leonard Matthews, is now. He travels extensively and could be anywhere in the country. Norfolk police think he may be able to help their inquiry into sex offences involving a 14-year-old boy, which took place in Great Yarmouth last year. We know that Leonard Matthews often goes to amusement arcades. He probably travels around in a white Skoda, number D88LAH. He was in Romford, Essex in April and last month went to Eastbourne on the Sussex coast. Could you have seen him at a seaside resort recently? He's 69, 5 foot 8 inches tall with balding grey hair and usually wears glasses. If you do know where he is, then call us.
Colleagues at Welwyn Garden City in Hertfordshire are coordinating the search for Stephen Lane. They want to speak to him about a series of deceptions that have taken place throughout the south of England. Stolen driving licences have been used as identification to hire at least 25 cars. These have then been sold on to dealers in the home counties. You might know Stephen Lane by several other names: Stephen Peters, Stephen Tomlinson and Jeremy Bray. He's 33, 6 foot with dark brown hair and is a smart dresser. He's also described as having the gift of the gab. We believe he stays in hotels and bedsits, so if you've come across him anywhere or know where he is now, or you can help with any of our other photocall faces, please call us.
And here's the number with the new code 081 811 8055. That's 081 811 8055.
Our next case is a bungled robbery, an attempt to steal a cash delivery from a branch of the Midland Bank on Merseyside. Now, despite the general view that bank raids are fairly common, the truth is that partly because of high standards of security, they're most unusual and they often fail. In this case, several members of the public became involved and one nearly stopped the getaway. Our reconstruction begins in St Helens, near Liverpool. Wednesday, the 21st of February. On Merseyside that evening, Everton were due to play Oldham at Goodison Park. Half a mile away, arriving for the match, the owner of a dark green Golf GTI parked his car in Utting Avenue. The match was a 2-all draw, but the driver lost a lot that night. When he went back to Utting Avenue, his GTI had gone. St Helens, about 12 miles away. It's 9 days later on Friday the 2nd of March. This is the Midland Bank on Westfield Street in the town centre. That Friday started as a normal working day for 3 people who were about to become involved in a most unusual sequence of events. Around 10:30, Group 4 security were approaching Westfield Street, taking a delivery of money to the side entrance of the Midland Bank.
the money back. Get the money back.
I was working a few hundred yards away from the bank, delivering bricks to one of the sites.
There was a third man waiting in the stolen GTI.
I saw two masked men jump into a Golf GTI, drive towards me. I tried to block them off with my JCB. I jammed them up against a parked car. They scrambled out of the passenger side window. Two of them ran off together. The gunman ran past me and mouthed, "I'll have you."
He drove the blue Cortina the wrong way down Westfield Street, while the other two made off on foot. They ran down Water Road. Maybe you were in the area.
Just after I'd crossed over the road and was walking along past Beecham's, I noticed two men acting very suspiciously in that they were running extremely fast, looking as if they were running away from something. They crossed over the road so that they were on the same side of the road as St Helens College. I did notice that there was a man in either a Range Rover or a Land Rover parked outside Beecham's. I'm certain that this man noticed the same men that I did.
The Cortina was next seen in Duncan Close, which is a dead-end road.
Well, when I heard the car coming towards the garage, I looked up and saw this blue Cortina shoot past the entrance to the garage, and he went into the builder's yard next door and did a wheel screech. As I walked out, saw the car driving off, looking, you know, as if he was lost, and went off in a hurry, you know.
The car was later found abandoned in nearby Crispin Street. Jim Byrne, you've got some great witnesses and some very good descriptions too. Let's start with the gunman, the chap with the shotgun.
Yes, it's a nasty piece of work. His age is about 25 to 30. He's medium to stocky build with dark straight hair.
Okay, and although it wasn't apparent from the film we've just seen, one of the other guys had an axe with him.
That's quite correct, yes. This lad's more distinctive. He's about 23 to 28 years of age. He's very stocky build with broad shoulders. He was carrying a hand axe, which was described as silver-coloured with a black handle, akin to the axes used by the fire brigade.
Okay,
He's very distinctive because he has a band of freckles across his nose and under both his eyes.
Okay, and the third guy, the guy who was sitting in the GTI to drive him off?
The third man's about 30 years of age. He's medium to stocky build with dark straight hair.
Now, obviously, you want to find that Range Rover or Land Rover driver in Water Street, who obviously saw them himself. You also want to eliminate a vehicle, I think, from your inquiries.
That's quite correct. About 500 yards away from the scene where the Cortina was abandoned, a yellow Vauxhall Chevette was seen. The driver and occupants obviously lost, driving up Borough Road away from St Helens Town Centre, and I'd asked the occupants of this vehicle to come forward.
Okay. Now, taken from the GTI, left there by the real owner and removed by the robbers, was this jacket, which has got coal real fire heating on it, or a jacket identical to this, which is property British coal. I mean,
that's quite correct.
Fairly distinctive.
These jackets are issued to the coal industry. They're not for retail, and they're quite distinctive.
Okay, particularly if seen with these sunglasses, Samco sunglasses by Mazzucchelli, I think they're called. They're reasonably expensive. That they took out of the car, that they left in the car.
This was obviously a training top. It's quite a distinctive training top, and we feel that it belongs to one of the offenders.
You don't think they're local men, but even though they bungle this, you do think they're dangerous men?
Yeah, much about it. These men came prepared for confrontation. They showed total disregard for members of the public. At that time, there was a large number of elderly persons, women and children in St Helens Town Centre. I feel that by now, the passage of time, these men will have openly discussed this, not only amongst themselves, but certainly amongst their associates. And I'm asking any person with information to contact us here. These men are dangerous.
OK, here's the number, 081 811 8055, or call direct to the incident room at St Helens on 051 777 4090. That's 051 777 4090.
Well, now to Incident Desk, and here are Detective Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
First, colleagues in Hertfordshire are appealing for information about an armed robbery on a Security Express van outside Barclays Bank in Hatfield. It was 10 to 11 on Wednesday the 9th of May. One of the two men was armed with a handgun and both security guards had ammonia squirted in their faces. The robbery actually took place in the bank's car park at the back of the building, and 3 cars were seen leaving whilst it was going on. The drivers of this light-coloured Orion, this Escort or Nissan, and the Reliant Robin may not have realised what they were witnessing, but we would really like them to get in contact. They might just remember one vital thing that could solve the case. The 4 robbers escaped in a black Golf GTI, which was prefixed with a G and suffixed with BH. A middle-aged couple in a brown saloon car gave chase out of the car park, but they've still not reported the incident to the police. If that was you, please ring us, even if you don't think you can tell us very much. It's thought the robbers made their escape along the A1000 towards Potter's Bar. The first man seen in the video is 25 to 30 years old, 6 foot 2 inches tall and has an athletic build. He was wearing fawn jeans and a brown bomber jacket. The second man, who was armed with a handgun, is also 25 to 30, 5 foot 8 inches tall, and was wearing a black suit that looked too big for him. So, if you were one of the drivers in the car park that day, or can help with any of the appeals in this case, please get in touch.
Colleagues at Gerrard's Cross in the Thames Valley area need your help to identify a man who attacked a young mother in Denham in April. At 10 a.m. on Friday the 6th of April, she and her 2 young children were walking along the Pikle, a footpath running between Denham village and the railway station. As they headed for the station, a man approached the family, and as he passed, he grabbed the woman and threw her to the ground. She struggled and held on to her children, but was unable to prevent him indecently assaulting her. The man ran off towards the station, but may have gone over this stile into the woods. He was about 5 foot 8, in his late 20s, and had 2 very distinctive front teeth. They protruded and overlapped. His face was flabby and tanned. If you can help, don't hesitate, call us straight away.
In our next case, a robber has left a trail of clues scattered across the centre of Harrogate in North Yorkshire. At 9:30 a.m. on Friday the 16th of March, this nervous-looking robber went into a building society in Station Parade in Harrogate, threatened staff with a pistol and demanded money. He got the money but soon lost his disguise. He changed his looks on his getaway route. As he went through the railway station complex, he threw away his cap, scarf and sunglasses. Then he made his way across East Parade to the GPO sorting office. He dumped his raincoat, pistol and a kitchen knife on a parked van at the side of the building. No one's yet come forward who may have seen the robber shedding his disguise. Do you recognise any of these? Or perhaps you might know the man who wore them. He's described as in his early 30s, about 5 foot 9 inches tall, slim with dark brown hair and has a Yorkshire accent. If you can help on this or any of our other incident desk cases, please call us now.
And here's the number, 081 811 8055, 081 811 8055.
Our last appeal is a kidnap at gunpoint and then 30 miles away, a robbery at the home of an antiques dealer. It was exactly 4 weeks ago. In fact, some of the people involved had just been watching last month's Crimewatch, Thursday the 10th of May. The film you're about to see includes something of what took place inside the antique dealer's home, because during the hour he and his friend were held there, the particular way the 2 robbers behaved, the conversations they had, their Irish accents, the names they used, could well strike a chord in somebody's mind. Remember, the date is Thursday the 10th of May. This is Cambridgeshire. Tiny villages, open fields and farmland scatter the countryside. Just south of Newmarket is the village of Upend. Michael Smith has lived here for 2 years. He's an antiques dealer. On Thursday, May the 10th, he spent the day at an interior design fair a few miles away in the village of Duxford. At about 6 o'clock, he returned home, planning to stay in that evening with a friend. 50 miles north in Norfolk, a new bypass is being built on the A140, just outside Dickleborough. Martin Taylor is a materials engineer. He'd been working on the bypass, sleeping on site in his Volkswagen Dormobile. It was about 10 o'clock when Martin went to sleep.
On the whole, our society really is...
Back in Upend, Michael and Kevin watched Crimewatch that evening because a Cambridgeshire case was being featured.
Nightmares, do please. Sleep well. Good night.
Good night.
I'm off to bed.
OK. I'm going to have a bath first.
OK, good night.
Good night.
Who is it? What do you want?
Excuse me. Can you help me? I've got a flat tire.
I say, what time is it?
Open the door.
No, I'm not coming out. Who are you?
Open the bloody door. I've got a gun. Come on, open the door.
What do you want?
Right. We want your car. Give us your keys. Come on, give us the keys. Right, get out. You're coming with us.
Can I put my trousers on?
Yeah, that's all you need. Right, come on. Do as you're told, you won't get hurt. Lie down there in the back.
Martin remembers they turned right out of the site onto the A140 towards Dickleborough. During the journey, they stopped twice on rough ground. At least one of them seemed to know exactly where he was going. They drove Martin 25 miles away to Thetford Forest.
Rick, this is where you get out. Lay face down. Jim said he'd be there at 2. It's 5 past now. This is private property. You shout and holler and you'll get shot.
As soon as the men had gone, Martin freed himself. In his bare feet, he walked through the forest for 3.5 miles. It was an hour later, at about 1:30, when he finally came to a phone box from where he called the police. It would also have taken about an hour to drive the 30 miles to Michael Smith's house in Upend.
Lie still! Don't get up and you won't get hurt. Roll over on your face. Where do you keep your valuables?
There's a diamond ring in the vase on the dressing table.
The same man then told me to take my wristwatch off, which I tried to do behind my back, but I had difficulty with it because there's a safety catch that needs to be released.
Yes.
I was told to hurry up, and then I was hit with what I think was a clenched fist on the left side of my head. I managed to get the wristwatch off, and then my hands were tied behind my back very tightly. Then we were both pushed out of the bed over to the banister of the spiral staircase.
Where do you keep your smalls?
Well, most of it's at the fair at Duxford. I left it there today.
You liar! Where's your bloody jewellery? We know you got lots of jewellery.
Okay. It's downstairs, in the dining room, in a cardboard box. One of them obviously knew something about the antiques trade because he asked me, where do you keep your smalls? Smalls is a term to describe porcelain, china, silver, brasses, anything that can be packed into boxes.
I can't find the bloody jewellery. Where is it?
In a cardboard box between the cabinets in the dining room.
You all right, Mike?
Yes, I'm okay. shortly afterwards, the one downstairs called up that he'd found it. We could hear him moving about directly underneath us. The other one, he wasn't quite so aggressive. He was making rather a fuss of the dog, stroking it.
Come on there, Georgie. You all right there, mate?
I'm gonna take the car. I'll be about 20 minutes.
You can't leave us like this. We might be here for days.
I'm not a merciless bastard. I'll call the police.
Where are the keys to the BMW?
They're on a bunch in the front door.
How do you turn those floodlights off outside?
Oh, you can't. It doesn't turn off. You can't switch it off.
Well, you better not bloody move, or we'll blow your brains out. Come on.
Are you all right, Mike? Yeah, I think so. You? I'm fine.
It was nearly 3 in the morning when the men finally left. As well as Michael's BMW, they took about £50,000 worth of antiques and jewellery. Well, Mr. Craig, the gunmen didn't call the police, in fact, did they?
No, they didn't. In fact, it took the two men about 2.5 hours to get themselves free, and in fact, one of them notified the police just before 5 a.m. If this was a premeditated failure on the intruder's behalf to notify the police, then obviously it shows how callous they were, and obviously shows a lack of concern for the safety of the victims.
What actual information do you have about these two gunmen?
The descriptions are quite vague. Obviously, both wore masks. The main indication we have is the fact that they both had strong Irish accents, and also the fact that they referred to names of Fitzpatrick or Patrick, Georgie or Geordie, and the kidnapped man also heard a reference to a man by the name of Jim.
Right. Now, they actually travelled some distance that night through the country of Norfolk, into Cambridgeshire and then back again. The two men kidnapped Martin Taylor and stole his red Astra from Dickleborough. They probably drove along the A1066, which is the most direct route to Thetford Forest, where Martin was tied up and left. The men then drove his Astra some 30 miles to Highfield House in Upend, where the burglary took place. The red Astra was found in the early hours of the morning on a farmer's track just half a mile away. It was completely burnt out. Michael Smith's BMW convertible was stolen from his home by the two men. In the village of Starston, some 50 miles away, the BMW was abandoned and set on fire. And if you could have seen either of those two cars, remember it was Thursday, the 10th of May. What exactly did the men steal?
One of the principal items that they stole, in fact, was a clock, a French 8-day mantle clock, which is quite valuable, together with a substantial amount of silverware and jewellery, which came to about £45,000 or £50,000 in value.
There is a reward on offer, isn't there, for these two?
Yes, indeed, there is quite a substantial reward. This was obviously a well-planned job. The men were quite violent, and obviously they need to be stopped. And I would mention the fact that the times that we referred to during the course of the film, in fact, may be somewhat vague. Bear in mind that the people involved had been asleep and weren't quite precise about the times themselves.
Mr. Craig, thank you very much indeed. And if you can help to offer a clue as to who those two men are, please give us a ring here now on 081 811 8055, or ring the Cambridge Incident Room direct on 0223 358 966. That's 0223, the code for Cambridge, 358 966.
It seemed fairly quiet on the phones earlier on, but certainly making up for it in quality. There have been some promising leads on the Wayne Taylor case, some new witnesses on the Midland Bank robbery on Merseyside. Several viewers are positive they've seen Leonard Charles Matthews, and police are already following up a lead on Stephen Davis. A lot more calls coming in now, some very, very good information. Now a chance to recognise some property that may be yours or may belong to a friend or a relative of yours. With Crimewatch UK's version of the Antiques Roadshow, from the Antiques Roadshow, here's Eric Knowles.
Thank you, Nick. Well, I'm hoping that many of you have got very long memories, because much of what we're going to look at this evening was stolen a good number of years ago. Now, I've never won a medal in my life, least of all one for soccer, but this gold medal that you see here turned up in this rather battered Riley's toffee box. Not only the medal, but a hoard of jewellery, including some diamond rings, worth a small fortune. Now, not worth a small fortune, I'm afraid, is the Rembrandt. It's a pale pastiche, and quite frankly, it doesn't bear a candle to the original. Talking of candles, brings me to this rather fine Elkington candelabra that takes no less than 5. It's Victorian but Georgian in style, but come and look at this Georgian character. What a wonderful little miniature painting. There's a Georgian squire in his red coat with his dog. Men in red coats always worth more than men in blue coats, and men in blue coats are always worth more than brown coats. It's a funny old world, but it's very much a one-off. And so too is this violin, made by a man called Guinarius Withers in London in 1900. It's very much a one-off and worth at least £1,500. Now, passing just one of our fans, we move to a pair of German cherubs, whispering sweet nothings, no doubt. They date from around about 1880. A poignant little object is this small silver snuff box with the inscription, as you see, from a Mrs. Puget to Sir David Dixon. Dates from around about 1830, 1835. Now, if you're on the square, you'll know exactly what we're looking at. A quantity of Masonic regalia, possibly belonging to Ernest Edward Symonds. Photographs here may just be the man. So, whether you're on the square or not, or whether you're on the fiddle or not, please, if there's anything that you recognise here, be a genie and get in touch.
If you've seen something you recognise there, you can ring Reading Police Station. That's 0734 536 000. 0734 is the code for Reading, 536 000. Or you can ring us here on 081 811 8055, 081 811 8055. That's for Aladdin's Cave or indeed anything else you've seen tonight.
And it's just about it for tonight. We'll be back at 11:15 after question time with more news on the calls that have been coming in on tonight's cases. Our lines will be staying open until midnight, and you'll find the numbers of the local investigating forces on CFAX, if you have that, on page 618. We'll be back with a new series of Crime Watch, incidentally, after the summer break. That'll be in September.
Before we go, let me say you might have read reports about how crime rates are going up again. Do bear in mind the headlines may be badly distorting the true picture. In fact, according to the latest international crime survey, not only is our experience of crime in Britain much lower than in the United States or Canada or Australia, as perhaps you might expect, it's also lower than the European average. So don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.